Alrighty, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Monoxide Podcast. I'm your host Harris, aka Monoxide, man of many automotive aspirations. And today we got I fucked the intro already. It's okay.
Yeah, you said it's 2 weeks. As soon as you said that, like it's been a little while, I knew it was gonna
I'm restarting.
disastrous.
I don't restart often, but I'm restarting this one.
Right.
All right. What up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Monoxide Podcast. I'm your host Harris, aka Monoxide, man of many automotive I
say you gotta just leave it at this point now.
I'm leaving it at this point.
Yeah.
Sounding like Porky Pig up in here, dude. That's all, folks. But anyways, I am here with my co-host Dan, man of many Mustangs. What's up, Dan?
Not much. I have. Yeah, that's it.
That's over your allotted time slot for the
that's
intro. And today we are going beyond the me with Omar. I'm gonna butcher your last name. Is it?
Let's see. Let's hear it.
Yeah, let's try.
Is it Aguillon?
Actually, you're pretty close. Yeah. I guess in English, most people, we would say Aguillon, but in Spanish, that's actually pretty close.
No, well, that's the thing. Okay, this is like the 15th episode I'm talking about last names. I'm sorry, y'all. But I always forget to ask before the episode. But today we're going beyond the meat. You're the owner of, what was it, Nightfall Performance, I think it was?
Nightfall Performance.
It's a cool name, because
it's a little creative.
It's related to the Nightfall.
I'm surprised you caught that.
Yeah.
That's kind of that kind of was the idea behind it.
Yeah.
Since we're kind of, most of the stuff I've ever done and most of the cars I've worked on, they tend to be, guys who do nighttime stuff. So it just kind of made sense, really.
Yeah, just nighttime cruises, nothing crazy.
Yeah, just like heading to Walgreens or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The CVS cars.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's really fitting to have you on because next week we leave for Texas 2K, so this will drop the day before we leave for 2K. So I'm like, all right, might as well get somebody fast on the day before. So unfortunately, we couldn't get Davey on here. It's such an empty chair over there. It breaks my heart. But we'll get him on at some point because I know he has, 2,500 horsepower vet or something.
It could make 2,500 horsepower.
Yeah,
it's pretty quick though. It's pretty sweet.
So in looking at it that way, you're the slower of the two friends from the sounds of it. Tell us a little bit about your Corvette build, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess I'd say, it might probably be a little bit slower just because I kind of built everything just to handle 2,000. I didn't want to go too insane with it and, build it for 3,000, 4,000 horsepower because that's a lot of money. But pretty much my build, kind of basic. It's a 427 LXX block, typical stuff, forged bottom end, forged crank, custom cam, and all the little trinkety stuff, lifters and all that stuff. But pretty much all that based around, twin 76s and, manual transmission.
Oh, they're 76s.
So, yeah, okay. Twin 76, 75. They're from Comp.
Put us a little bit closer like this way, just a little bit more. There you go. You're golden.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, because I was talking to, oh my God, I feel so bad. I forgot his name downstairs. Was it Roscoe? What was this? Starts with an R.
Oh, something like that.
I
don't know his name.
He's going to listen to this. He's
going to listen to this. Yeah.
Oh, no.
You're in trouble.
No, we were hanging out at Texas 2K last year, so I feel bad. But it's like if you don't see someone for a long time, you forget their name.
You forget. No.
Yeah. But no, nonetheless, that's one thing we talked about with what was it, Joe DeVito. It's like you build your car to handle more horsepower and you just run it a little lower.
Yep. Lasts a little bit longer. Yeah.
Yeah. So what would you say it's cruising around at right now?
Right now, right this instant, I think we've got it at 15 PSI and tuner says should be making with fuel and everything like that around 1,100.
Okay.
So he sent me a tune. I have yet to upload it because by the time, I was going to upload it, last year, it was getting cold out. But, from that 15, we're stepping up to 25.
Oh.
And so
I was going to say 15 PSI and 1,100 horsepower. That's pretty good for 15
pretty good,
PSI. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a bigger block motor and everything like that. So it definitely helps. But, once it starts getting nice out, all this salt goes away. I'm loading up that tune and kind of seeing what it does, really.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're only at 15 PSI and because you have a big block, you still have to run E85 or can you run a 93 in that and still?
I don't know.
Are you on E85?
I'm on E85.
Okay.
Yep, just regular pump E85, nothing special. But
okay.
I've thought about doing that. I've thought about putting a second gas tank in the car because I've kind of built that car to do drag and drives.
Okay.
Kind of over in Colorado and stuff like that. I've always wanted to do that stuff. So
sick. Okay.
That was kind of the mindset that I had going into the build was, I want to do that eventually. That type of stuff. They drive, I don't know, I think it's 2,000-3,000 miles in a whole week. They go racetrack to racetrack. it'd be pretty hard to do that on 85, of course.
Yep.
So kind of most Corvette guys at least, they either just strictly run 85 and they just bring a whole bunch of gas with them, and they've got a tune that, that you can run 93 on, and you just kind of switch tunes. Or there's some guys that put a second fuel cell in there, which isn't really hard because we've got a lot of room, right by the transmission. So that's what I'm kind of thinking about doing. But hopefully, this year, next year, I'll start doing that stuff to get that going.
Are you going to build a trailer too?
Yeah, that's the plan. Little open trailer, yeah.
I don't know if you saw, but episode 59, we had Mike Narks and Eric White from Drag Drive Repeat, formerly known as Drag and Drive Addiction. So they run their own events, but they also, what's the word? They document it. Like they have a whole, they go to all of them. They started a point system and everything. So they just announced the champion or whatever at PRI when we were there. Super cool guys. But that was kind of my introduction to Drag and Drive. I was like, that.
They live, eat, and breathe Drag and Drive.
Yeah, that's his full-time job. He's sponsored. He's got a lot of sponsors, but he's sponsored by Summit Racing and all this stuff. They run a legit operation over there. So I'm excited you brought that up because I would not have guessed that.
Oh, really?
No, because Drag and Drive, it's niche, but it's not niche. You know what I'm saying? It's the people that do it. It's like a cult following. It looks and I'm glad to see that's getting a lot more publicity because it's super cool.
No, yeah, it's it's the same kind of people that go every year. Occasionally you get new hands of people that show up, but my tuner, he actually does them every single year. So he goes with his buddies. I think he's got 5-6 guys, and so he's the tuner for all of them. So he'll just jump in a car, jump in another car, tune on the way there, look at data logs, jump in the other guy's car, he'll just kind of shoot shit around pretty much the whole entire trip. So he's kind of, playing a big part of, me doing the drag drive stuff because he's got a lot of experience in it. So thankfully I met him.
So who's your tuner?
He is a tuner down in, I forget. It's down south. So he's a mobile tuner. So his name is Matt Elliott. He's kind of a smaller tuner.
The name sounds familiar though.
Yeah, he's a smaller tuner, but he's amazing. He's
is that the guy tuning
good.
Brian's CTSV?
I don't think so.
Okay, it might be somebody else.
No, that guy's from Texas. I don't know what his name is, but Matt, he also tunes Davion's car. He tunes his C5 and his Pontiac too, and mine too. And then whenever we have cars that come in the shop that need tuning, just kind of send it towards them. But he's super good, super easy to talk to, super smart guy. He's a big street guy, obviously, big drag and drive guy. So he's pretty knowledgeable. And we just kind of met him in a whims too, just on a Facebook forum, just talking, and just we needed a tuner at the time because we had 3 previous tuners before him. All of them just would not get back to us.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Yeah, they were too focused on their drag strip cars, and so they're focused on that and not so much on the street guys. So they just push us to the side, and just kind of ignored us. It'd take us 3-4 months to get a revision. It'd take us a couple weeks to get a reply, or if we had a question, we'd have to spam text them just to get a reply. It just became way too much at that point. And that's how we met Matt. We were just talking about that stuff, and he was like, hey, I don't really do tuning much, but I don't really do tuning for other people. He kind of does it for his friends and himself. And surprisingly, he's been amazing, honestly.
Turns out to be pretty good.
Yeah, he's super good. I mean, even at 1,000 horsepower, we have yet to, dial in the suspension or even touch traction control. So, I mean, that's kind of the big part. I mean, I think the last time I run it, at 1,000 horsepower, my 6130 was in 4 seconds, which is pretty solid for only making that much.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's definitely going to have a big part in, how much this car can do, which I'm pretty excited for this year, especially.
That's going to be fun. So we actually at our Airbnb for Texas 2K, we have Caleb staying with us. He just finished building his ZR1.
Oh, yeah.
And should be low 1,000s. So
who's doing his tuning? You remember?
That's a good question. I can't remember. He's told me about it. He's told me about it a lot. And I forgot about it a lot. So
I don't pay attention to those LS guys.
Yeah, no, I feel like maybe it'd be Steven. I forget his last name, but he kind of does a lot of tuning for the guys.
Okay.
So I don't know. Maybe
we have a lot of fast cars coming out this season, man.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun. I've been keeping a pulse on the scene, man. A lot of people are upgrading, getting faster.
Yeah.
Minnesota's got a good scene though. Like it's small, but
Oh, yeah.
it's still pretty sizable.
Yeah,
If
that's
you know
what
who to talk to.
Yeah, exactly. If you're part of the right group and everything like that, it could be really fun. But once you start, trickling in, going into the smaller groups, it gets pretty hectic because, at that point,
Like smaller horsepower groups, you mean?
Yeah, their meets tend to have 100 plus people in them, which can be a lot at at night especially.
Yeah.
But when it starts coming up to the bigger horsepower guys, maybe at most 20 people, 15 people, and
I've
that's a
seen
big
some of
meet.
that, yeah.
And that's a big meet for us. It's like having 20, 15 people. But I mean, you get so many more runs in. Everyone knows each other. It's so much better, honestly.
You act more like adults.
Exactly. That
Well, because
too.
most of those guys got to work the next morning anyway.
Yeah, right. If you have to have that
Yep.
kind of money to get that kind of horsepower, you tend to be a little bit more responsible, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Very selective
Yeah.
on where you do your hits.
Yeah. And they tend to be older guys. They're not. I think maybe me and Dave are probably the youngest guys in that group, if I remember right. But they're, I don't know. No, I think there's a couple, but it's fairly, they're all adults, and that's kind of what makes it fun.
They got kids and stuff too. Like they can't be out all night till 4 a.m. all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're out to get 3 or 4 good races in, or
Yep.
however many, and then it's like, all right, let's wrap it up.
Yep, exactly, which is pretty nice.
So how old are you guys then? You and Davion?
We're both I think he's turning 25 soon.
Okay.
And I'm turning 25 in April, so 24th
Okay.
moment, turning 25.
Okay.
So we're still pretty young.
So once again, shouldn't have gone to college. Should have just learned how to build cars.
Yeah.
And then I'd be happy.
You have a backup plan in case you need to fall
Well,
back onto college.
I actually went to college too.
Okay.
That's actually how, I actually was never into cars
Okay.
until I got into college. So that was a whole big ordeal because, I just wasted 3 years of college going for physical therapy.
Okay.
And,
Maybe you can help me with some of my
Yeah.
my old issues.
But it's like, one day I just was sitting there and I was just like, I really don't like doing this. It was just randomly just sitting in my dorm room. I don't like doing this anymore. And, that same week I dropped out and I was like, well, what do I want to do then? And I was like, I've been kind of watching all this, car stuff on, TV and, on YouTube and everything. It was like, oh, give that a shot. Didn't go to school or anything for it. Just kind of dived right into it. And now it became this whole entire, big money pit.
Wow, that's like a crazy car origin story. Like that doesn't normally, like you're just going to college, physical therapy, you all of a sudden just drop out and because you're watching TV and you like car shows, so you're like, I'm going to do cars.
Yeah.
That is, that's not typically, usually it's like I grew up wrenching with my dad or like my uncle had this or, that's interesting.
No, yeah.
Okay, so when you say dive in, what was kind of like your first step? Like, how did you start actually working on cars then?
At the time, I'd bought in I forget what year it was, but it was like one of the little Audi A3 wagons. I bought it totaled from the auction, and that's kind of where I started. And so we pretty much fixed that Audi up, and then slowly trickling, modifications on it. I was a college kid at the time. I didn't have much money, so it was sponsored by eBay for the most part. So, typical downpipe, really loud exhaust, intake, your typical stuff that you kind of do when you're younger. Started out that, and then once, I kind of, felt comfortable, kind of got bored of it, kind of moved on to a different car, and then, that's when I got the Charger, then did stuff to the Charger, and also did some bad stuff to the Charger and ended up, blowing that car up.
What do you mean bad stuff? What did you do?
Well,
Expose yourself.
yeah. Pretty much I was putting exhaust on it. And since at the time I did not have like a lot of knowledge at all of automotive stuff, I was putting headers on it and I couldn't fit the headers up into the pocket pretty much to bolt them on. And so, at the time I didn't know, you shouldn't take the heads off because, then you got to, most of the time resurface them and you got to get a new gasket, new bolts and all that stuff. And at the time I didn't know that. So I took the heads off without knowing, put the exhaust back on, put everything how it was, old gasket and everything back on with the old header bolts and everything. Didn't really tighten them to torque or anything. And so when I started the car, coolant just everywhere, and I was like, oh no, it's like, what did I just do? And at the time I had a family friend that was a mechanic, so he came out and he was like, what'd you do? I was like, well, I took them off because I couldn't fit the headers up in there, and so I just took them off so I could put them on and, you know, put everything back on. He was like, no, you shouldn't have done that. It was like, you just ruined everything. I was like, oh, really? It was like, gosh, I was like, wish I wouldn't have done that.
Well, part of the learning experience too. So I'm guessing as a result, you probably started being more careful on stuff too.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. It's part of the learning experience.
Yep, I had a lot of those. That's kind of like my whole, you know, automotive thing, like, you know, skill set, you know, just, I haven't really been a person, you know, to open up a book and learn and everything like that. So just kind of off experience, do stuff. That's kind of the way I've been learning, really. That's the best way I learn, at least. But yeah, it's worked, really. I mean, obviously I've got, you know, the car I have now and it's running and driving, so it worked.
So what happened after the Charger then?
After the Charger, I became a Beamer boy for a little bit.
Okay,
Yeah.
yikes. Okay.
Yeah, yikes. What is it? Had a N54 335i for a little while.
With a burble tune.
Yep, exactly. Had the typical MHD tune and everything like that, downpipe, you know, and everything. And so one day the motor just blew. It was just like, oh, for no reason at all. And ended up taking that motor out and putting in, I think it was like MMP, like bigger twin turbos at the time, and built the motor and everything, and pretty much went as far as I could at that time, so I could make like 700, 800 horsepower. And unfortunately, came down to another thing about having a tuner. Couldn't find a tuner at the time, and when I finally found a tuner, it ran like absolute crap. It just ran horribly, and I couldn't find a tuner at all. And so when I just kind of gave up after a while, and I sold the car. How it was like, car needs a tune, you know, your typical stuff that you hear on Facebook. Car needs a tune, runs like crap.
Yeah, don't buy those cars.
Yep. Yeah, so I sold it like that, and someone bought it, and I think that car is still driving around now, honestly.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. And, you know, it was my first time that I built a motor, first time that I pulled a motor, first time that I pretty much did anything major to a car that wasn't, you know, typical bolt-on stuff. So that was definitely an experience.
So how did you go about learning how to do all that? YouTube University?
YouTube forums, BMW forums, you know, that's kind of where I base most of my stuff off, really, especially since those forums have so much information on them from, you know, even when the cars came out, you know, there's so many guys on there. They're so knowledgeable. That's kind of who I just would go on there, talk to a couple guys. They'd send me photos, they'd send me videos, and that's really how it started, you know, just talking to guys like that, really.
Did you ever end up meeting like some of these forum guys, like your internet friends?
I met one guy, and that was in a Corvette forum because I bought a transmission from him. But other than that, I never met any of them. But, you know, all super nice guys.
Did you have to, so like you just decided you're going to get into cars. Did you have some tools and stuff? Or like now you're also having to invest in some tools and things like that? Or
thankfully, my dad had some tools, your basic tools, you know, basic sockets, you know, and wrenches and all that stuff. But for the most part, yeah, I had to pretty much invest in all that, you know, buy as I needed, you know.
Right, yep.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it went.
Cool.
Oh, you took a deep breath. I was just worried.
No, I know. It's fine. I got up early this morning. I'm tired.
So then how'd you go about... Okay, so you had the Beamer, and then what happened after the Beamer, after you got rid of that?
After the Beamer, that's when the Corvette came around. Yeah.
Okay, and right around what year was this roughly?
Ooh.
21?
No, actually, it was right around when COVID hit.
So 2020-ish?
20, like right beginning of COVID.
Okay.
At the time, that's when I also sold that BMW, and I've always kind of wanted a Corvette. That was kind of like, I guess, like a dream car for me to have was a Corvette. So at the time, you know, COVID and everything was going around, but I don't know if you remember that cars were going for dirt cheap because everyone was trying to, you know, get rid of stuff because they weren't really sure, you know, what was going to happen.
They thought the market was going to tank.
Exactly.
Yeah, yep.
So everyone was trying to sell stuff for dirt cheap. And I'd just sold my BMW, and probably a week after we sold it, saw this 2006 Corvette for sale, and the guy was asking $8,000. All that was really bad was a paint job. So I went, looked at the car, offered the guy $6,500, and he was like, "Sure, take it." So compared to like today's standards, you can't find a Corvette for not a C6 at least for $6,500. It's
Yeah.
almost impossible.
That could have been a short turnaround because cars went actually up when COVID actually hit. So like somebody should have gone around and bought up like everything right before, and then 6 months later could have sold everything for twice as much.
Yeah, because like that same car nowadays, even lowest
20s.
I've seen them 20s.
It's a Z06, right?
No, it's a base model.
Base
Yeah,
model. Okay,
base
but
model.
even then, those are still 15, 20.
Yeah, 15, 20 grand.
How many miles were on the car when you got it?
When I bought it, I think it had 60,000 miles.
Oh, that's
So
it?
was yeah,
That's
60,000.
basically brand new.
Basically, for an LS, honestly,
Yeah.
compared to what you see on some cars, yeah.
And it was running and everything?
Running, driving, same thing, 6-speed manual. Just had a Plasti Dip paint job. That was the only thing bad about it, but the car was from Texas.
Clean title?
Clean title.
6,500.
Was the paint underneath okay? Like you pressure wash off the plastic dip?
No, it was horrible. It took like 4 of us and probably 2 days to get that Plasti Dip off.
Yeah.
Because the car was originally from Texas, and they had Plasti Dipped it. The previous owner did, and so that Plasti Dip was just caked on there, and with how the sun beats on cars down there, it was almost impossible to get through.
Yeah, Plasti Dip, I don't think it does well in super hot climates like that. Or like wrap. Wrap doesn't do too hot. Like you cannot leave a wrapped car outside. You have to park it indoors all the time. Like even taking it to car meets. Like for example, another common problem with like Vipers down in the south, their dashes may start to peel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it depends. I think that's specifically to Gen 5 and some of them. But nonetheless, like harsh climates mess up cars, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's cold up here or hot down there. So like you have to be ready for it.
Yep, exactly. Thankfully, my dash wasn't peeling. So that is a big Corvette thing, especially down south. The GM has really cheap dashes in those things. They're plastic with like cheapest leather. I don't even think it's probably real leather, honestly.
Those were bad years. Like that was when bailout times, things like that. My wife had an Equinox that was probably the worst purchase I ever made in a GM product, and all of the buttons were rubbing, paint was rubbing off of everything in there. It was like, oh my god, this thing is a piece of shit.
Yeah, that's how it's a Corvette, but I mean, the interior on those things, they're not comfortable, they're not nice, but kind of advantages, those cars are super light compared to what other cars weigh nowadays and back then at least.
Well, let's talk weight. Have you weighed your car at all yet? Because you have some weight reduction on there too, right?
Yeah, I got some weight reduction, not much. Okay. Took out pretty much all the OEM wiring, and then also took out the not heat exchanger, heater core and everything like that. And haven't gotten aftermarket seats yet, but pretty much what the car weighs right now with me in it, with fuel and everything in it, weighed in at 3,330 pounds. So it's pretty light for what it is.
Considering how much power you're making, that's a good power to weight ratio.
I definitely thought putting an iron block in it with twin turbos and everything that it was going to bump up the weight a lot. But, I mean, 3,300 pounds, it's pretty, I think it's pretty light for that car and what it makes.
That's very competitive for a street car.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, Davion's C5 is probably even lighter, right?
It's heavier.
Is it really?
Yeah. I don't know if he wants me to say how much, but it's heavier.
Let's keep it off the books then.
I'm comfortable. Like for me, I don't really care sharing that stuff.
Yeah.
Because
some street guys like to keep it close to the chest.
Yeah, there's some guys that won't tell you anything. They'll keep the hood down. They won't want to talk about anything. What's done to the car? They'll just nothing.
So does 200 pounds really like make a big difference?
Does what?
So like I just put a number out there, like 200 pounds. I see people like just gut their whole car and basically have just a seat in it. What does that equate to on like time wise? Or does anybody actually know a calculation if you take 200 pounds out of a car?
There is a calculation on it.
Yeah.
I don't remember what exactly it was, but I think it was like every 100 pounds was like maybe a couple horsepower.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's not much, but I mean, it definitely helps.
It adds up, especially like when it comes to a competitive setting. Like I remember I've been in a draggy forums for like the last year or two.
Oh my god,
dude! Some of the calculations you see in there are hilarious.
The draggy forums are hilarious and just entertaining to be on. Honestly, it's a great
comedy,
time.
Dude. Because like you have a few guys that are super smart in there, and then you have a few dimwits in there that just make it fun for everybody. But yeah, 200 pounds makes a sizable difference. I mean. It depends, like, because if you remember, like, we had Joe on, and he has a weight rack in his trunk.
Yeah, just to get traction.
Like, he puts 45 pounds.
Yeah.
Like, some people need that extra weight, but also it comes down to, like, where you want the weight to transfer to. Like, when I feel like when you start getting into, you know, high four-figure or four-digit cars, like you start being a lot more mindful of what you put into it.
Yep, exactly. And you start dipping into, you know, counterbalancing is kind of a big thing. That's what I'm doing right now. And so we got scales, just put the car on the scales and you see what each corner of the car weighs. And you kind of, you know, you can change up where weight is by either, you know, raising up the front, lowering the rear, maybe putting weight in the rear, or maybe taking something out the front. But with like street cars especially, you know, you kind of want to have almost a 50-50 weight ratio, maybe a little bit heavier. I mean, especially us Corvettes, we definitely want a lot more weight in the rear. So more it's like 55 in the rear. But for the most part, I'll probably be having to add weight once I turn it up. But yeah, weight is definitely a big part of, you know, street racing and, you know, just drag racing in general. You know, when you start getting into higher horsepower stuff, you definitely see people throwing more weight on there.
Explain counterbalancing a little bit more, I guess.
Easiest way to, I'm not really amazing at it yet since just starting to dip into it. Pretty much counterbalancing is you have your 4 scales and each of them weighs, you know, what corner of the car. And so you'll see maybe the front left weighs 20%, the front right weighs, you know, 30%. And obviously you kind of want to have, you know, your left and right as even as possible, and kind of that we're not swaying to the left when you floor it or swaying to the right when you're flooring it. Because obviously if that happens, then that could be really dangerous.
Yeah.
And, you know, same thing with the front and rear. I mean, since, you know, our Corvettes, we have IRS suspensions. They kind of really suck for weight what is it called?
Weight transfer?
Weight transfer. So most guys, they typically throw like 200, 300 pounds in the rear with these Corvettes just so they can have that squat that most F bodies would get, you know, without having to throw any weight on there. And just, it's kind of, I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much what it is. Just looking at how much weight is it each corner and just adjusting it that way. It's, you know, as even as possible.
Yeah, I just got confused because like I've heard corner balancing. I never heard it called counterbalancing. So is it the same thing? As,
Same thing. Yeah, corner balancing, counterbalancing.
I know that Dave from DRSC is going to start doing some of that here soon as well. Some corner balancing stuff. So that's exciting. I don't know if he's announced that yet. Maybe I should cut that. We'll find out.
Yeah, it's definitely an art in itself. Yeah, there's a lot of information.
Dude.
We have it's crazy. There's a lot that can do to it, and how much, you know, that stuff could change a car.
Tuning isn't just, you know, throwing a car on a dyno. There's so many, like, you know, tuning your suspension and, you know, all that. Like, it's ridiculous. So have you upgraded your suspension or no?
Yep. I got Keltrek Crusaders in the rear. They're like, I think, triple adjustable or double adjustable. I don't remember. And then I got same thing, Keltec. You know, they're pretty much Keltec Vikings. I guess they're Viking shock, but Keltec, you know, modifies them to whatever spec you need and such like that. But same thing, you know, Keltec up front, Keltec in the rear. So just coilovers, nothing too crazy. But yeah, kind of stock, you know, control arms, you know, everything else is pretty stock. Nothing too crazy yet.
Before we get too far into the show, I wanted to take a moment to talk about Raise a Hood. If your daily driver is having issues, aka your beater you got off Craigslist, Raise a Hood's telemechanics and AI tools can help you diagnose and solve the issues you may be dealing with for a fraction of the cost. All you have to do is add your car to the Raise a Hood garage to get started. You can provide the AI tool, also known as Gus, with the specifics of the issues you're having, and it'll help you narrow down what the culprit is. It's a great way to bounce ideas off of to figure out what actually might be the problem. You could then select from a variety of solutions to explore the cost and difficulty of doing the repair yourself versus taking it to a shop. If your car doesn't have detailed solutions yet, that's totally fine. Just go ahead and add your car to the garage for free, and that'll let the Raise a Hood team know what to focus on as they continue to develop and grow. If you want to try out Gus or chat with a telemechanic, go to raiseahood.com and add your car to the garage to get started. Use code MONOXIDE-FREE for a 1-month free subscription, or Monoxide20 to save 20% on a 30-minute call with a telemechanic. Let's get back to the show.
Do you guys do you do anything different with the diff? So I'm a huge Ford guy. I don't know much about how Chevy does it. Is it like a limited slip in the back then? Or do a lot of the guys lock their stuff up, or?
I think at least for ours, they are already locked. I don't think they're limited slip.
Okay.
Actually, I'm not too sure about that. Actually, I haven't really thought about that.
Because if you're driving around on the street, it's like drag guys. I'm sure they just lock the rear end, and who cares? They pull it on and off the trailer, stuff like that. But if you're street and you're doing a lot of turning, things like that, that can get real rough on your rear end.
Oh yeah.
If
Yep,
you're
that's
not
true.
letting one side spin faster than the other with a limited slip.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I really haven't looked into that. Kind of
Okay.
whatever, the stock GM stuff is. I pretty much, my differential is just the same differential like a C601 would have.
Okay.
Bought it from a totaled C601, and I was like, whatever, this is perfect condition, threw it in, and haven't done anything since. And it's holding up the power. I mean, it should at least. I mean, there's some ZR1 guys out there, making 1,400, doing digs and stuff, and perfectly fine.
Yeah, though that's such a crazy car, man. ZR1s, that's a bucket list car.
Yeah, they're fun cars. To drive. Surprisingly enough, my younger sister, she had one for a while. So whenever I'd got to drive it, that thing, those are fun cars. They're definitely nice.
What does she have now? Anything or?
No, not anything now. I think she's waiting until just waiting some time, taking a break from the whole car thing. Because obviously having a car like that, it's a lot of a stress in itself, just because of how much money parts cost for that car. She had to do brakes on it. I think just the front. I think the rotors alone were like $5,000 a piece.
Those were carbon ceramics on there,
they're
right?
the carbon ceramics, and so that was a stressful time just trying to afford and get those done, just because the price tag on those. So it's like oof, and she didn't know that going in, but it definitely. I don't think I could afford one either. It's definitely expensive to get those brakes done. That's kind of the big thing with those cars, is doing your brakes, just because they're so expensive. And it's not like your conventional, brake. They go off weight, I'm pretty sure. I think at least. It's not like most regular rotors. You go off like, how much thickness you have left. I think those, they go off how much weight you have in the rotor, which is kind of interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, no, carbon ceramics are insane. I've gotten to experience some of them, man. It's just, but the nice thing about them is you don't have to change them often. There's not much to, pads, but yeah, you don't have to, the rotors should last allegedly like 50 or 100,000 miles, I think.
I guess
something
I guess
ridiculous.
it all depends on who you're driving too, honestly.
Right, because like if you're doing like track days all day long, well, you have carbon ceramics on a GT500, right?
Nope.
No?
Nope. I can upgrade them for like $5,000 or $6,000.
Yeah. Does
But
Mark have it on his?
He said he was gonna get them. Last time we talked, was looking at a set or getting a set or something like that, but he had not. He had stock brakes still.
Okay, that would shave off some time on his Road America time.
Yeah.
Man, it'd be funny to see you get carbon ceramics first. And whatever. Constant beef with these guys. So then, okay, so you want to do some of the drag and drive stuff. So then, I guess, when did you start dabbling with the street stuff? The Mexico.
Yeah, I guess dabbling in with the Mexico stuff is right around when I had that Charger.
Okay.
And that's kind of the main reason why I started doing all, that car wasn't crazy fast, honestly. I had an exhaust, a tune, an intake, and then I tried to do, long two bedders on it, but that didn't go well.
Yeah.
But before that, I'd go out, out to Mexico and, just small little groups. And at the time, that's when I think the Scat Packs and everything were coming around town and everything like that. And I was losing against them all the time. And that's how kind of started. And, losing against Scat Packs all the time, I was like, oh, what can I do to, at least make it more competitive? And so that's when I started dabbling into, modifications and, getting all into, all that.
Okay. And then you had the Beamer. Then did you take the Corvette out at all yet or no?
In its current form, how it is now, no. But, I think 2 years ago now, it was just your basic like heads, cam, intake. I had a little bit of nitrous on it. But when it was like that, I did take it out to Mexico a lot. And that was pretty much almost like an every other weekend thing with that car. But with how it is now, not yet. Just waiting until, it gets nice out. I've been kind of aching to go out with some, guys and go do some hits.
Have you done any hits in it yet or since the build? Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
Yeah. I've done some, your typical 60 to 130s and then 40 to, since I'm planning on going in Power Cruise, and the main, rolls that they do at Power Cruise is like 40, 45 rolls.
Okay.
And so all pretty much last fall, just dialing in 40 rolls, 60 rolls, and just making sure, you know, the car's quick off, you know, right off the bat off a 40 and a 60. And that's really all the hits I've gotten in the car. Nothing like really racing someone yet. But that's really all I've been doing with the car, really. Just dialing it in, tuning it, and that's it.
Okay.
That's going to be rowdy at Power Cruise, dude. What because I know one of the issues that you run into at Power Cruise, especially because it's back-to-back hits, have you done much on the cooling front? Or do you have to worry about that much? Because it is a turbo car. It's not like it's supercharged.
Yeah, a little bit. It's more just coolant temps that you have to worry about, you know. But I've got like a big, real thick, it's a DeWitt's radiator.
Okay.
I don't remember the thickness on it, but pretty expensive radiator. I think there was like $1,500 for just the radiator alone.
I've heard of them before. Yeah, they're pretty top notch.
They're pretty much top of the line radiator for especially for Corvettes and stuff. And so far, I haven't seen any, you know, coolant issues. I think right now, cruising around right now, especially back, you know, I think last weekend it was like 60, 65 out. I drove it around for like an hour just cause, and sat around like 180, 170, and that's the hottest it get.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool, honestly.
That's good for a V8.
Yeah, especially like a big, you know, 427 V8.
Yeah.
It's, you know, especially like the Z06s, they tend to sit around like 200, 225. It's kind of like their maintenance temp. And so the fact that I'm sitting at like 180, 190 at the most, as I've seen, like after a pull, I think that's pretty healthy, honestly. So,
is there a point at where it's too cold? Like, because like you want things to be up to temp too, right?
Yeah, I think there is. I really haven't I haven't really thought about that, but I'm pretty sure there is, you know, issues that come when it's too cold.
Yeah, I think you want to be in that like 140 or up usually.
Well, yeah. I mean, because like I know Dave did that with his Mustang too. I can't remember what he says his temp is, but he literally put like I think he said he put like a small hole in his thermostat or something, just so it's always like not. I don't know. I can't remember. I'll have to go back to that episode.
Where you're sitting is pretty much ideal.
Yeah,
I would
pretty
say.
much. Yeah, I did the same thing he did. Just drilled a small little hole in the thermostat. That way, it's always flowing through. You know, nothing's getting. You don't have to wait till it opens up or goes down. It's just something's always going through at least. But that definitely helps.
Are you interested in like road course stuff at all, or not really?
Funny that you said that, actually, because
time attack build.
Actually, that's what I was kind of getting around to. What is it? Last year, went to Texas for the first time, and at the time we went to watch the F1 race at the time over at what is
Coda.
This? Yeah, I think it was Circuit of America.
Yeah, Coda.
Yeah,
Circuit of Americas. Yeah.
And so, you know, we went there, and they had obviously the Porsche racing going on, and all the, you know, I think it was F2 going on too, and then F1.
So.
I don't remember exactly, but once I started watching all that stuff like in person, I was like, oh my god, this is sweet. I want to do this. And, you know, slowly but surely, hopefully if things line up, I'm planning on buying another Corvette, but making like a time attack C6 Corvette. And I've seen those things are pretty successful. There's a guy.
I'm guessing you've seen Ferraz's.
Yep.
That thing is. He lives down in Dallas, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Yeah, I tried reaching out. It'd be awesome to get that dude on the podcast because that thing is. He just set the world record at Okayama or something.
Something like that. Yeah, I think it was that.
It was something. It wasn't Okayama. It was the other one. I don't know. Something.
He's got a lot of, you know, time records at tracks. It's ridiculous what that car is doing.
Do you remember what that car makes? I think it was like, what was it 15, 1600 or something like that?
It was a lot.
It was ridiculous. Like ridiculous time attack Corvette. We saw it at I think it was at SEMA or PRI. It might have been both, but ridiculous Corvette. Ridiculous.
I know. The full, what is it? Kevlar body, twin turbos. It's insane build. Massive wing in the front. Not wing. I mean, massive splitter and then massive wing in the rear. That car is insane. But hopefully, you know, one day I need to build something like that. That'd be pretty sweet, honestly. Or even buy a totaled out, you know, Porsche and just kind of start messing around with the Porsches a little bit. But
funny you should say that. I might be able to get you a damaged GT4. Let's talk. That'd be really cool. Yeah. So that the road course. Yeah. I'm curious. Who's your F1 guy? Who's your guy?
I really don't have a guy.
No,
not really.
Do you have a team that you cheer for? Not
Red
really.
Bull, just mainly because Sergio's on there.
Okay.
And well, you kind of have to have that, Hispanic respect, Mexican to Mexican type of thing.
Yeah.
And so, support each other pretty much. So that's kind of the main guy. I guess, that's the main guy I root for.
Okay.
And kind of this main reason I support Red Bull. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, I don't think... I don't know if there's any country on the planet that supports their teams as much as Mexicans, dude.
Oh, it's insane.
Dude, when you see the F1 races and you see, like, dude, the racetrack down there is incredible because, like, it goes, like, through, like, it's kind of like a stadium. Like, I don't know if have you ever seen a Mexican track down there?
Uh-uh.
I think it's Mexico City, right?
I think.
Whatever.
I'm not too sure where
so.
their track is.
Dude, like, it's literally like, think of cars, like, driving through a stadium full speed. That's basically kind of what it is. Like, it's just... dude, that's on the bucket list is to go to the Mexican Grand Prix. Like it's on there. It's just ridiculously cool.
Insane. Like even when we went to Texas, the amount of just Mexican and Hispanic, people that were there, every single time he would drive by, oh my God, it was like you were at a concert. It was like everyone's like, yeah. It was like, what is going on? And I was like, geez, I didn't think we loved this guy this much, but dang, okay.
Well, it's like he's number 2. I mean, yeah, it's great, but Sainz is my guy.
Oh, yeah,
that's the guy I cheer for. Since I got into F1, I was like, that's my guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious to see where he ends up. But yeah, no, I want to go to COTA. That's a bucket list track. I went to the Miami Grand Prix.
Oh, really?
The first year.
Mm-hmm.
So we went there as a family. That was cool. Saw the GT3 cars or whatever. That was super cool.
Those are cool to watch.
Just ridiculous. So bucket list. We want to go to Montreal. That'd be a fun one. I almost had a chance to go to Vegas, but.
I don't know if I'd like going to Vegas,
dude. It was a clusterfuck.
Hectic. Yeah. Especially with that the infamous drain plug, incident. I got cracked.
Happened to my boy, man. Happened to my boy.
That was pretty funny. Super unfortunate, but it was pretty funny.
And then it happened again to Ferrari at Bahrain. Did you see that?
Did it? No,
yeah, one of a drain plug or sewer cap or something came up, and I think it took out Leclerc's Ferrari this time. I don't know.
They got some crazy luck,
dude. They got the worst luck, man.
They're an interesting team to watch, though.
Yeah,
definitely. There's been a lot of times that you just watch them and you just kind of question what they're doing. Like sometimes they'll occasionally have those super late pit stops, like 5 laps before the race is about to end. It's like you gotta pit. It was like I don't know if they forget.
It's stupid.
Or it's like it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's tough. But ultimately, like I just like. I'm sorry, we're going down an F1 rabbit hole here.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, it's just. Sainz is my number 1 driver, but I also like. I'll just say who I don't like. I want Yuki gone. I give that seat up, bro.
Yuki's probably like my second favorite guy, honestly.
He's fun for his spicy energy. That makes it fun. But I'm just like, man, like, can we get someone else over here? Like, I don't know.
He's probably my second favorite.
Well, I saw him in person in Miami at the airport. Yeah, at the airport. I think my mom and my dad got a picture of it. So I was like, oh man, like I really liked him at first, but then it's just like, I don't know. This last race when he dive bombed into Ricardo, I was like, bro.
Oh yeah, that was interesting.
I'm like, that's petty. He literally, dude, at the end of the race, like after the race was like over on their cool down lap, he cut in front of Ricardo. He tried to like dive bomb into him because he was pissed off about the team orders to switch him.
Yeah,
it's just BS. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I get it. It was kind of late in the race, and they wanted a driver swap, which
I get the frustration. Yeah, but I was like, man, that was a part of the game plan from the get go. We all knew Ricardo was going to be on soft tires at the end. Like, if he has the pace, like. If he was able to pass Yuki 2 or 3 laps earlier, he probably would have passed the Haas. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I'm starting beef right here. Somebody over here is screaming at the windshield.
So they have road rage problems too, is what you're telling me.
Dude, that dude's got the biggest road rage.
Yeah. Every other word is a curse word in his vocabulary. It's
honestly
insane.
I think I'd be a bigger fan of him if they had an open mic on him the whole race.
Oh, that'd be great. That's
what I should do. I should go. What is it? They have Sky Sports or whatever. I should just go watch his stream, the whole race from his perspective.
That'd be funny.
I'd probably be his biggest fan then. Just like a road rage stream.
Because like even the small clips that he has, they're just
hilarious.
Amazing. They're the funniest thing.
All right, you convinced me. I'm a fan again. Okay, I'm back on Team Yuki. Okay, but you want to build a road course car? That'd be. So what would you go for power wise there? Would you still go pretty high like what Faraz is doing?
I don't know.
That's scary.
Yeah, that's a lot, and especially 1,500 horsepower taking turns that fast. That's a whole different ball game. Like I can handle it. Going straight but I feel like taking turns going that fast, that's definitely like a whole different ballpark.
Yeah.
I don't know. Honestly, I'd honestly start out with a stock motor. It's like a
Get familiar with it.
LS7 or LS3. Get familiar with it, kind of get used to how you're supposed to take turns and such like that, because obviously there's an art to that too. So I'd probably start out there, and depending how that goes, and keep on going up as we go.
Where'd you get your 427? Was it already long block fully assembled, or did you build it, or?
No, a local shop, Wagaman Brothers,
Okay.
they built it. Well, they built the short block, and pretty much I just built the rest.
Okay.
And so they got a LSX block. It's like their GM's bow tie block. It's their fancy, expensive block. But
Ford has the Illuminator series and all that stuff. Yep.
Pretty much like the same thing.
Yep.
And just stuck in. It was Wasteco rods, diamond pistons, a scat crank, and they just did all the block stuff. And from there, I took it. Got some heads from AFR, and did all the springs and valves and all that stuff on that. Installed the cam, did all the timing stuff, and so that's pretty much what I did with the motor.
Okay.
They just did, I guess, the important stuff, the stuff that I was
all the really fine clearances, all that stuff too. Yeah,
exactly.
I usually have somebody else do that part too.
Mm-hmm.
It's my Harbor Freight torque wrench is probably not going to get them as precise.
I got an Amazon one, so maybe
Do
it's
you?
a little bit better. I don't know yet. But yeah, I guess all the really important stuff like that, I leave it up to the professionals.
Yep.
If it's at some point I'm planning on doing like just a small 5.3 turbo truck. Nothing too crazy. Then I'll probably
they're a
build
dime a dozen, right? You can find them
Exactly.
everywhere. Yeah.
Exactly. Like if I blow it up, well, hey, gotta go to the junkyard, get one for $500-$600. Oh well.
Yep.
But blowing up, that block, just the bare block was $5,000-$6,000.
Yeah.
So definitely goes up a lot. When you start breaking those.
All right. So you're welcome to disclose this or not. I'll leave it up to you. But take us through the build. What does it cost to have, again, so you're rated for 2,000.
Yep.
Right? That's what you're built up to.
Yep.
What does it cost to get a Corvette up to that level? Get the calculator out. Let's go hit up your accountant. Let's get you 23 tax returns.
T56 Magnum or something like that too then? Or you said your manual?
Yeah, it's a TR6060.
Okay.
It's a built TR6060 from RPM Transmissions.
Okay.
I think it's like a level 6 transmission, and it's supposed to handle up to 2,000. But I don't know. Might have to mute this out for the girlfriend when she listens in. Honestly, but,
that's why I asked you, because it's like I can have this up in my head. I have a built
Yeah.
TR6060 in my 2015, so yeah.
They're expensive.
Yep.
Manual stuff, especially manual stuff in general, it's expensive. It's a expensive group to be a part of.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
TH400 guys, you can just go offline, buy one on Summit or Jegs for $2,000. It's like 800,000 horsepower, or 2,000. Yeah, $2,000 for like an 800 to 1,000 horsepower rated one. That's easy, but manuals, you're spending upwards of $6,000, $7,000, $8,000.
Yeah.
If you break it, you're kind of screwed, honestly.
So you're keeping your car as a manual then?
That's the plan, honestly.
Okay.
I've had opportunities to go, teach 400 or 4L60 and all that, but I don't know. There's something about, being manual, and when it comes at those drag and drive guys, there is, I think, like 3-4 guys. There's obviously Cletus, you guys probably know who that is. Then there's Speedy PD. No, he doesn't do drag and drives anymore. But there's, a handful of, Corvette guys that are still manual.
They have a special manual class too, don't they?
Exactly. They got, most places do nowadays,
Yep.
like FL2K, Texas 2K, which is super fun. But those classes tend to be the same guys, small niche community that only do manual stuff. And, watching their videos and following most of those guys, and like, yeah, that's the group I want to be a part of. It's more expensive, yeah, but it just, the way they talk about it and the way they mention it, is just it seems like it's so much more fun than just jumping in a car, either bumping it forward and calling it good, But back to probably the subject of the cost, I'd say overall, without the cost of the car, I would say.
Well, the car was 6,500 already, so who cares about that?
Yeah, who cares? That was
chump change.
Exactly. That was honestly, compared to everything else, I was some change. But I think so far at this moment, I've probably spent around like $70,000 to $80,000 on it. That's with tuning, suspension, the motor. The motor was the most expensive part. I think I spent, it was something ridiculous, like 30 on it, 35.
Sounds about right.
That's definitely the big bulk of it. And then from there on out.
So what goes into the motor cost, I guess?
Motor costs, usually I incorporate, obviously what it costs to get it honed and, machined and all that stuff. And then rods, pistons, the big bulk and, important part. And then I've got super nice, I forget what brand they are, Johnson lifters. Those were alone, I think, were like almost $1,000. I don't remember. They're pricey for lifters. I got super nice roller rocker arms, which were like $1,000 also. The heads alone were, I think they're like $3,000-$4,000 alone.
I was gonna say in that $3,000 range probably. AFR.
Yeah, AFR, and that was a little bit, I guess, cheaper because I was gonna get their custom heads, and so the like $4,000 or $5,000 I spent was on their cheaper end because they could have gone further with it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because like those are
buy the cheaper ones and then send them to Janderson heads and have him do them.
heads. Yeah. Thankfully, these heads are perfect. I think they're like 280cc heads and they flow amazingly and they're super nice and they're 6-bolt heads, and so I should never lift a head, hopefully. But
you got all ARP hardware
Yep,
anyway.
Yeah, all ARP studs and everything like that. Pretty much same with the main caps and everything. Everything's ARP. So also ARP is pretty expensive too. It's especially recently. I feel like they've been jacking up their prices or something. But
well, they're the best in the game, so I suppose they can.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, kind of that's where I've been. Yeah, I guess the motor was a big bulk of how much I spent, and then there's suspension, maybe that was also stupid expensive. It was like $6,000. That's including like sway bar links and little odds and ends, bushings, and all that stuff. The crazy part is I could even take it further with the suspension. I don't have like monoball bushings or anything like that. That alone, just to get those, I think it was $2,000 just alone, just to do that. But from there it's fueling. I think I've got a 4 Innovations like triple pump. Yeah, triple pump. So it's triple 525s in there. That was pretty expensive. Well, it wasn't for fueling. I guess it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, this should be like $2,500 probably for a system. Yeah,
I think so. And then injectors or fuel injector clinics. I think 210-pound injectors. I don't remember off the top of my head, but should be good until I think they said like maybe 1,500, which is kind of the most I want to make on the street because I don't think the car's gonna hold up any more than that, honestly.
In its current form, at least.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, you get to a certain point where it's got more horsepower and you probably go, but it's not going to be a fun street car then either.
No.
I would imagine it gets to a point where it's really not that much fun to drive because it's just a monster and it's just impossible to put down traction, and unless you go to traction management, I suppose, like those Viper guys.
Well, Holly has a pretty good system too, don't they?
Holly has, depending who's tuning it, obviously. Right. Holly could do some crazy things too in comparison to what those Viper guys have. I think Holly's up there too. I mean, it's nice because with Holly you're not spending I don't know how much their ECU systems cost.
The Motecs,
they're
pricey.
Ridiculous. But with Holly, I mean, with my Holly and all my computer stuff, I maybe have like $2,500 into it with all the sensors and stuff that you need to add it onto it. $2,500 compared to what that's all that goes for is
like 6 times more.
Super cheap.
Yeah.
And their traction control is honestly, I think it's really great for what it is and how much just everything costs. I think it's worth it alone, honestly. But that's pretty much we haven't touched our traction control yet, but we're gonna keep on downloading it up. Pretty much, if I start spinning on this 25 psi tune, we'll just adjust the suspension, we'll adjust weight, and if that works, we'll keep on going up a little bit. But the second we start having to dial in, traction control and everything, that's where we're going to cut it off. Because traction control, it's nice to have, but I guess my tuners had some bad experience with it too, because it's pulling timing really quick and then it's throwing timing back in, so it could do some damage if something goes wrong. So that's trying to, especially since how much money we've got in the motor, he's trying to prevent that.
Right.
So it's like, at least for the street, that's kind of where we're going to keep it. Once we start having to do any major work to the, traction control, we're just going to call it good, and that's how it's going to stay.
Yeah, why build it all the way up just to have traction control pull it back down?
Yep, exactly.
As you're taking off.
If it was a, quarter mile car or eighth mile car, oh, definitely I'd ride traction control like all the other guys do. But, it's just a street car, really. Drag and drive car, street car. Really don't, honestly, especially here in Minnesota, you don't see many 2,000 horsepower cars.
It's slim pickings.
Yeah, exactly.
You could probably count them on your hand. How many of those guys are out here?
And most of them are Vipers and GTRs. That's really the big bulk of them, honestly.
That's pretty much it. Otherwise, I mean, that's pretty much it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's really a small handful of that. I mean, we have more people coming to our faster, but I feel like we're starting to see a lot more people get just above that 4-digit club out here.
Yeah, I think so. It's starting to be a little bit more common. Which is, I guess, nice, because for a while I'd go out with Davion, obviously, and you'd see the same guys over and over and over, and it'd be the same runs over and over and over, because it was just, there's only so many people that, can hang out and, keep up with you. So it is definitely nice having, a new crowd, but, it's definitely also a little bit scary to have a new crowd, because you don't know how the people are. You don't know how they're going to handle themselves, if they're going to be mature enough. So that's something that's going to be interesting to find out this year.
In the next few years, it'll be interesting to see, because like more and more people are going to start coming into money, like get further in their careers and can afford the fun toys and stuff. And, it's getting easier to get 4 digits. I mean, how many Mustang guys we've had on, like these new 10 speeds are just mopping up the floor right now. Just doesn't take much to get 1,000 out of them. Same thing with the Supras and the RS3s. They're all, I mean, look where we're at here. I mean, how many 4-digit builds have we seen from Ratified?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy what everything's turning into. Even like nowadays with like Dodge, they're starting to make 1,000 horsepower cars right out the factory. It's like that's maybe going to start becoming normal at some point. Who knows? But I think
we've seen a lot these last few years. Like, I mean, even like the Ferrari SF90, the Aventador, or no, not the Aventador, the Revuelto. Like, we're starting to see more and more stock cars at 1,000. And the fact that we saw it in a Dodge, it's like, here we go.
Yeah, it can't, hook up or turn a corner or do any of that stuff. But,
yeah.
Other than that, it's great.
Well, what's crazy, though, is like, again, when you come back to like, traction management and, tires are getting better. Everything's getting better.
Yep. Technology is catching up. So,
yeah, that's pretty awesome. So, would you ever consider going up to a Motec, or you want to see how this shakes out with Holly?
Motec, I think it's Motec. It's either Motec or Haltech. Either one of them two actually recently started offering a LS just plug and play kit.
I think it was Haltech.
Maybe it is Haltech. I don't remember. It's one of the two, but Haltech also has great traction management and everything like that. But I think it's something that I might try eventually, just because they price theirs pretty close, not super close to a Holly, but I think it's like $800 to $1,000 more than a Holly. And when you're comparing the two brands, I mean, Haltech is pretty superior to Holly. I mean, but I think maybe eventually I'll either have a customer car or something like that, and maybe they might be interested in doing something like that. But I think it'd definitely be sweet to do. Could go one of those two brands.
So speak to your customer cars then. What have you put out there? Any fast things, or what are you mostly doing?
Nothing yet. Not yet. It's just kind of been your basic maintenance stuff, diagnostics, and that's kind of the main bulk of stuff right now. I've got one guy that he's teeter-tottering if he's got a C6 Z06 still, and he had a previous shop that had built the motor on it. And they'd built the motor, they'd put rods and pistons, and I think they left the stock crank in it. And I don't know what they did, but they went on to start the car, and the car didn't start. They pulled the oil, and it was just sheared metal. In the whole entire oil pan. They took everything apart. It just, within just trying to start it, it just ate.
So it never fired up, and it still had all that metal.
Yep. And
they had to really fuck something up.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, maybe they forgot a rag inside or something, and it just caught
Didn't put any
just-
pre-lube on the assembly, lube on anything.
Maybe.
Oh.
But, that guy, he's scheduled in to come the end of this month. And so I think right now we're just pretty much thinking about, he wants to do like 1,000+ horsepower build. He wants to do like a YSI supercharger on that, and then, everything supporting mods. But he's not too sure if he wants to spend that much money on it. So we're still on that. But either way, it's definitely going to be, either a really fast NA car, like 600, 700 horsepower NA car, or it's going to be, 1,000 horsepower supercharged car. We don't know yet, but it's really going to come down to if the motor is salvageable or not. Yeah, because like if we can salvage it, then he said, okay, then if we can save as much as we can, and then at that point, I'd have my motor guys just go through the motor, just refurbish everything that needs to, and we could, not have to buy a new block or have to find a used block, and he could afford that supercharger. But if that block is junk, we're just gonna have to start all over again. So I guess, that's the only big interesting build right now that's coming through. But other than that, just kind of normal stuff. Well, I guess not really normal. It's differential swaps and other Corvettes. Oil seals and transmissions and stuff. I guess just mainly diagnosis, repairs, and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm going to take a second to support the home team. Many of you know the podcast is based out of Ratified Motorsports, who make some of the sickest builds out here. That dyno you all hear downstairs has seen some serious cars. Whether you're looking for a standard tune for your cute little Volkswagen to a full-on Supra or RS3 build, you should give Ratified a call to get the sauce. Check out ratifiedmotorsport.com/performance to see what they can do for you. Let's get back to the show. Dude, those NA builds are sweet. Like Derek Stinton's C6, that thing's pretty sweet. Yeah, because he does a lot of autocross and road course stuff. Have you met him before or no?
I have some friends on Facebook, and we've talked maybe like once or twice.
Yeah, that thing is rowdy.
I think he might have bought something for me. I think that's why I met him.
Maybe.
But those NA's Z06s, you can make a lot of horsepower with those too. I've seen a couple of them making like 800 and almost 900 horsepower. And
ridiculous.
Some of them are revving up to like something crazy, like 8,000, 9,000 RPMs. Like not even hitting the rev limiter yet. It's like, oh my god, that'd be a fun car to drive.
Yeah, that's fun. I love his build. That's where you wonder is like, oh man, like 600 to the wheels NA. Like do you even need a supercharger at that point?
It's fun. It's definitely fun. Like even when before I did the whole turbo thing, it was just a decent cam and everything like that. My car was making like 450, and that car alone making 450, and how much it weighed. If it weighed 3,300 now, I'd probably weighed close to 3,000 then, maybe a little less. But that car was so much fun. Making 450 horsepower, you can just jump in it, floor it whenever, it'd spin the tires off. That car was so much fun, just making that much horsepower. So I can't imagine what 700, 800 horsepower NA would feel like. It'd be something else.
Here's a question. Why Chevy? What made you go down that route?
I think it was more just cost, honestly, than anything else.
Nothing like a junkyard LS.
Yeah, honestly, it was just more cost efficiency. It was just, in comparison.
This is a guy who's now got 30 grand into a motor.
Yeah, I guess true. I just kind of bit myself in the ass for that one. But it's like when I was starting, that was kind of the big thing. Because, at the time when I first started, college or straight out of dropout college. I was a dropout college student. So it really wasn't making much. I was working at part stores, part-time here and there. And I think full-time at, helping out my dad and stuff. And other than that, wasn't making a whole bunch of money. So, I got into the whole BMW thing and realized, oh my God, this is expensive. Not only are all the parts super expensive, maintaining it. It was every other day, I've got to change out this coil pack, this injector stuck, or it was just dumb little things. And that was just kind of also the big second reason I sold it. I was like, I like Euro cars. They're super nice cars. I like those RS3s, amazing. But, to do stuff with them, it's crazy expensive. Even more than what, I put into my Corvette even. I can't imagine what, 1,000+ horsepower, German car or something like that would cost. I'd imagine maybe close or maybe even more. But at the time, that's kind of my main reason I went to Chevy. It was just cost efficiency, really. It was cheaper. You could find parts at AutoZone. You could, find stuff off Facebook Market, use stuff all the time. You know,
You probably weren't going to find anything in that $6,500 range in a Ford.
No.
Compared to what you got. I mean, Corvette already is pretty performance based for $6,500. If you'd have gotten a Mustang for that kind of money, you'd have had to do some mods to it to get it to that level.
Yeah, I think for $6,500 you could maybe afford like an 05, 06 Mustang, maybe at that point. And then
who wants that 463 valve? That's not our flagship there.
Yep. And then with German cars for $6,500, I don't know, what could you afford for that much? Not really much, like performance based at least. Probably not much.
No,
a Jetta.
Yeah, maybe, probably, or GTI, something like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say we're performance based. Yeah, because like, fucking Carvana just gave me an offer on my car again. I'm like, nope, psych, get out of here.
Trying to give you more than what you paid for.
No, not even, dude. Oh,
really?
They gave me a ridiculously low amount. I'm like, because I get emails like updates, like, oh, here's what your car's worth now.
Oh,
yeah. I can't
The
wait.
car market's in a weird lull right now.
I just can't wait for Carvana to go out of business. That's all I'm waiting for. Yeah.
I thought they were like a year ago, 2 years ago.
If they do, I'm gonna buy one of those vending machines and have it moved to my house.
To be your new storage lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be pretty sweet. Honestly.
That would be friggin' awesome.
Yeah, no, I think the cheap, like maybe they can get like a Mark 5 GTI. Mark 6s are getting pretty cheap too, but even then, it's like they're not exactly high horsepower cars.
Yeah,
by any means. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Euro's not cheap.
Yeah, so it's like 6,500. I think those cars make maybe 350, 400 to the crank, maybe that. I think I don't know really.
No,
but I mean, either way, it's a Corvette. I mean, I think it was a good, good place to start. Obviously,
no, it's a great platform. I mean, it's a good looking car too. I mean,
that too.
It has everything you need. Like it's a good bargain build. Like I would love to do like a C6 Z06.
Mm-hmm.
That's like it's up there. Like that would probably. If I wanted to get like a budget 1,000 horsepower build, I think that's probably where I'd start.
Mm-hmm. They're definitely fun, especially in a manual. Something about driving like 1,000 horsepower manual cars. It's fun. It's a lot more. It's a little bit scary, but it's fun. It's honestly.
Well, I'll watch some of these like some of these Automotive Viper videos, and like they're making like 2,000 or whatever to the wheels, and they're still manual, and I'm just sitting here thinking like, how do you even do that?
Yeah.
Because I panic in a 200 horsepower Miata. Like, I'm not good at manual. Like, I don't drive it enough. I need more practice. But, like, to even think of doing it at those speeds in a competitive sense, it's like, holy shit.
Oh, yeah. I haven't done it much in a competitive sense, but it's probably a lot more nerve-wracking, especially, thinking about, maybe money shifting on accident. That's definitely scary because that could break a whole lot of things, especially if you're going 40 or 60 miles per hour and just going into the wrong gear. That does a lot of damage.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hopefully within the next like year or two, TIG Performance offers like a 4-speed transmission. Okay. That is actually, I think they've also got lockouts, or they've got a shifter with lockouts. And so I think it's like button based. And so when you press the button, it prevents you from going to third to second. It's like just a weird lockout that's in the center of them. So that's pretty cool. And I've kind of talked to them about that. So that may be something in the future.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
It'll save you a little bit of heartache potentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just freak accidents happen like that every once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder if the mic picks up that train.
I can hear. I listened to some episodes lately, and I can hear the cars pulling in and out of
the
shop. So I bet you can hear that train horn.
Yeah, like sometimes you'll hear like them like honking or whatever to open the garage down there.
Yeah,
yeah. The joys of being in a shop. They haven't done a dyno run in a few episodes, which breaks my heart. Those are awesome.
Are they?
Yeah, when they have like 1,000 horsepower car and a dyno, it's
pretty rowdy.
It shakes the whole building, dude.
Yeah.
You feel it up here. It's pretty sweet.
It is pretty sweet. They got a nice shop. I've never actually been to any of their buildings, either this one or the one in Chanhassen, I think.
Chaska.
Chaska.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've never been to either of them. They definitely have a nice shop. Honestly.
Yeah, no, I think they'll probably do an open house here at some point, so that's pretty exciting. I don't know, it's fun, and it's not like it's like because like some other shop owners like come over here and dyno their cars time to time, because like this isn't like a public dyno like you can rent it or whatever, but shops collaborate. You know how it goes. And that's one thing I love to see is when shops collaborate.
Yeah,
super
definitely
big.
is. Yep. Yeah, I feel like you tend to see the bigger shops like Mo does. I feel like they do decent amount of collaboration stuff, but they do.
Oh, yeah. That's one of
yeah,
few.
They do their dyno days, which honestly, it's super big turnout.
That was huge.
That is also super cool. Like the one they did just recently.
Yeah.
I went to that one. Oh my god.
You did?
It was packed.
I was gonna go, but my God, I heard some stories.
Mm-hmm. Like I was thinking about putting my car in the dyno, but then I went to go talk to I forget who I talked to, but I asked them how long the wait was, and I was like, oh yeah, it'll be like 4 to 5 hours or something like that. I was like, no way. It's like, how many cars do you have lined up? I think it's like total it was like 100 something cars.
Like that.
It was
Crazy.
like ridiculous at one point of the night. I was like, well, it's like I'm not gonna do this then. It's like that's outrageous.
Yeah, we'll probably see some of that down in Texas 2K. That's yeah. Have you been to 2K?
No, not yet.
Bucket
No.
list.
Yeah, bucket list. I'd like to take pretty much my idea with that is if I'm gonna go down there, I'd want to bring the car with.
Right.
And if I'm gonna bring the car with there, I'd want to do like quarter mile stuff, pretty much, or the road racing competition.
Oh, yeah, like in a competitive sense, you wouldn't do
Yeah.
the street stuff.
No, I've talked to. I have a lot of friends, like local Corvette guys that are local in Texas, and I just hear a lot of horror stories of the immense amount of people that show up just for Texas 2K, and how hectic it is, and how much cops show up. And just talking to them, they just convinced me alone. Going there just for this night stuff, it doesn't really sound like it's worth it, honestly. It's more risky than anything else.
Oh, it's ridiculous. They'll impound your shit there.
No,
like,
yeah,
immediately,
I've
like, on
heard.
site. Like it, and that's kind of why, like, this is Dan's first time going down there. Like, I'm just like, let's take it easy.
Oh,
Like,
we're going down to watch the night stuff. We're not going down to participate in the night
yeah,
stuff.
exactly. If
Yeah.
anything, I'll go and watch. But
Yeah.
to ever participate in the night stuff, it's cool and all. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of big horsepower cars and everything like that. But I don't know if I'd ever do that.
Last year, me and Sean, I think we only got 3 hits in, and that was on only one of the nights because it every spot was just getting shut down, like left and right. Like even like the meets, like there was like one meet, like I think it was one of the gas station meets, and everybody took over the parking lot, and then like 8 or 9 cop cars showed up from every direction. It's like, get out of here.
Yeah.
Because they knew what was about to go down.
Yeah, I can't imagine being out of state and getting your car, taken away. That itself is probably such a headache.
Oh, yeah.
Especially like during the weekend, they're probably closed. So
Yeah.
it's like just imagine trying to take your car out on the weekend. You're not even from the state.
Yeah.
Well, you may not even get it back, or it might take you
yeah.
months to get it back through court and all that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, that's true.
You know?
Then you gotta hire a lawyer, just a lawyer
Yep.
that's local down there, and then you gotta deal with all that stuff. That is just like it seems like such a big headache.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see who ends up competing down there.
Yeah.
You and I might have to bring some bail money.
Yeah.
So then ultimately, what's next for you then? I guess in the next like year or two, what's on the agenda?
Agenda mainly just focusing on the business, really. You know, ideally, I'd love to become something, big shot performance based. Not really specific on a brand, I guess, or a certain make. Kind of enjoyed. I just honestly enjoy working on cars. It's like no matter if it's like foreign or if it's domestic, or whether it's Ford or Chevy. I mean, I got a Mustang coming in a couple weeks even. So it's like, I just ultimately just want to grow that business into something to where, that could be, pretty much my baby pretty much. And I just focus on that, not have to do my daytime job and just do something I enjoy pretty much. And that's definitely
and that was
the big
body
plan.
work, right?
Yep. Body work. Yep.
Okay. So that probably made your life a little bit easier with the Corvette then? Since that's your background?
Yep, definitely. Doing body work,
Are you shooting any paint? Are you blocking sand? Like, what are you mostly doing over
yeah,
there?
pretty much. Yeah, so I'm a body tech. So
Okay.
fixing all the cars that are in crashes, doing body work. It pays well. It pays very well compared to what, a lot of other people are making nowadays. But like, it's a lot more straightness on your body. It's, always, on your knees, always having to pick up heavy doors and gates by yourself and all that stuff. I don't know, it's a lot of work, and it's difficult, and then you're always having to breathe in dust and everything like that, and you're having to deal with with lung issues in the future. And I've seen they don't really have like a good let's say like retirement, so most guys are working until their 60s, 70s, even more. So it's like kind of going into the industry, I had that idea, I'm fine working here for a while. But then as I, met other body techs, they just keep on talking to me. He's like, leave when you can. He's like, you don't want to be here until you're 50, 60, it, gets to be a lot. And that's kind of like the big reason why I started my business is, all those guys know what I do. They've seen my work I've done on cars. They've seen my car. And they've just always questioned me and look at me as like, why are you here? It's like, why are you doing this? It's like, you have better skills elsewhere. You have a better opportunity elsewhere. It's like, why don't you just go out and do your own thing? And it kind of took me, I've been here for 3 years. Mm-hmm. So it took me a while to realize that. I think it was more of, gaining the confidence of like putting myself out there and offering, services to the public. Cause that itself, it's a lot, or at least I feel like it's a lot, mm-hmm. But that's kind of, I guess, the big thing about that is, just focusing on that really.
Well, that's huge too, is like putting yourself out there to the public and the community, because the car community, we're great when we support each other, but man, you fuck up. It's game over.
They go after you like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see people if they're running late on fab work or cages and stuff like that, and it's like, that's a callback for anybody paying attention. But you get blasted. Yeah. If you make a mistake and you don't correct it, and sometimes, it's a little reality check for people, but, part of it is taking that jump. Like, I'm kind of in that taking the risk phase right now with all this, everything monoxide, it's, having to tiptoe on certain things, not say certain things, that's the other thing. Just maintaining a good reputation and putting out good work. It's not easy.
It's like, that's kind of the big thing, like tiptoeing, watching how you talk to people and such.
Picking your fights.
Exactly, picking your fights. Because I've had some in the past couple months, or the past, I guess, month since I've, opened up, the business. I've had people that, I haven't had good relationship in the past, and they want me to do work at the car, and I so badly want to tell them to screw off, but it's like I don't want to have that image on me. Right. I feel like that's kind of like the big difficult part is, you kind of have to, like you said, tiptoe around things, be respectful even though you don't like the person.
Yeah, you don't want to be the petty shop owner.
Yep, exactly.
When you petty shop owners, it's hard to be on their side sometimes.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to be that guy. But then you get guys for example, like JWP, right? Mm-hmm. He is good with everybody. He is friends with everybody. Like, he doesn't stir drama, nothing, and that's why he has the amount of success he has. Same thing with Rad. Like, he's good friends with everybody,
Yeah.
That's... For the most part, every once in a while, everybody has whatever, but yeah, who knows?
Yeah, that's ideally the plan, be able to just ratified Mo's and JWP,
we have a lot of respectable guys.
Yeah, get to the point to where I could start giving back to the community, host events that people can come and enjoy the shop too, have dyno days like they do, maybe bring some of the bigger horsepower cars that don't really come around town and show those off to people. Just kind of that's kind of also the big thing, just being a part of the community and give back. Obviously, be owning a shop and being a shop owner, they definitely help you out a lot. People here in Minnesota, it's not very big. So it's a lot of, mouth to mouth, talk about, go to this shop, go to that shop.
It's tight knit, man.
Exactly. So,
you know who to refer everybody to. Like, even competitors here will refer to each other. And that's the best way to operate. And that's why I love, especially this podcast. I've met so many shop owners at this point, and they all... The successful ones, I should say, the successful ones, they are doing exactly what you want to do. They want to take care of the people around them. So it's awesome.
No, yeah. Especially since Minnesota, we don't, like I said, we don't have a big car community. There's only so many people here. We don't really have any big, crazy events. And so it'd definitely be nice and, be a part of that. We can be.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'd like to make it out to at least 1 or 2 power cruises this year.
They're definitely fun.
I'm getting more and more leaning towards hitting that first one of the year. We might have to talk about that if you're interested in going.
We'll see.
Yeah, I've heard the first one of the year is always the better one.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
Because, I was talking to Mike Johnson. Yeah. And he's been there how many times? And I was honestly on the fence of which one to go to, just because it's my first year going.
Yep.
And he just straight off the bat, he told me first two things: go to the first one and get VIP. And I was like, no matter what, is like just do that. Just because the first one's always, it's so much less packed. It's like you get so many more runs in. It's so much more enjoyable and fun. You're not having to wait in line for like 4 hours to get maybe a run in before someone oils down the track.
Yeah.
And so it's like he was just go to the first one. It's so much funner. Sure, not as many people go out, but it's fun. Like you go out, even if you don't race anyone like that's in your same horsepower range, you could at least go out and test your car, dial it in.
He's so good at that too.
Yeah, exactly.
He raced Kyle Flicker in his 2500 horsepower Viper. It's like, yeah, he knows he's gonna lose, but it's like it was still a great video to see how much he got gapped.
Oh yeah, but like from a 900 horsepower car to a 2000 horsepower car.
Because 900's fast, man.
Yeah, it is.
Like, it depends who you ask, but like at the end of the day, like we have to acknowledge that 900 is a lot of horsepower.
You don't have to win to have a good time. I mean, that's why I think
exactly.
people get all like, I'm going to be a blah, blah. Just getting out and getting on the track is already a blast in itself. So who gives a shit?
Sounds like somebody has a slow car.
It's like, especially, I mean, we're not like the guys down in Texas or, Arkansas and all them or Ohio that, they do their whole racing thing and they're putting like $10,000, $15,000 just for a race.
Yeah.
It's like us Minnesotans up here, you really don't hear about that. We just kind of race for fun, really.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I beat you there, bud.
Yeah.
I knew someone was gonna say it. If that ain't a highlight, I don't know what is. You said it so much better than I would have too. I was about to say the same, like a similar thing, and I was like, nah, I can't execute. Well, sweet, dude. I mean, I know we're coming up here on an hour and a half here, so I mean, unless
really?
time flies.
Where's your shop at?
Yeah, shop's over in Buffalo. It's a little bit out of his way. It's like 30, 40 minutes from the cities. Right now, I share a shop with Davion. And so, for the time being, until I see that, it would make sense for me to move into like a bigger shop, pretty much I'll be staying up there for the time being. But if, business ramps up, then it makes sense for me to move closer to the cities. And so, but till then,
and get your own shop.
Exactly.
Do you live here in the metro, or where are you out by Buffalo?
I live over in Blaine.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of a drive, but it's not too bad. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, anything above that 694 interchange is the sticks for me.
Yeah.
Because
if you're not within that 494, 694 loop, then just screw you.
Yep.
Well, I'm technically outside of it too, where I'm down. So I'm down in in Cancun. So yeah, we were talking about that yesterday because like I drove all the way up to like the far part of Brooklyn Park to go get lunch or dinner with some of the car guys or whatever at like this burger place. I was like, man, that's a 40-minute drive, bro. Like, but that's gonna be the regular down in Texas. Like I was explaining to some people. I'm like, we're gonna be driving an hour just to go to some meets, and everything's bigger in Texas. But I don't know. That's part of the fun. It's a festival, man. Texas 2K is like a festival across the whole city.
Yeah,
that's the best way to put it.
Like it.
It's just awesome. Like all the shops have, at least in Houston, all the shops hosted their own meets, dyno days, stuff like that. Like it's cool. And this year I'm going down knowing so many more people, and I'm gonna be doing so many more podcasts down there. So I'm excited because like when we went down there last year, I was only on episode 11 or 12. Like I was figuring all this out. This year it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
So
definitely sounds like it's gonna be a lot of fun for you guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what Caleb's car does down there.
Dude, that boy is gonna be a menace.
Yeah. He's pretty much like my competition, so it's like kind of gonna keep an eye on him.
Well, I got a winch on the trailer in case he breaks, and then if he gets impounded, then I can buy another car and trailer at home.
Oh yeah.
Might buy some rust-free shit while I'm down there.
Facebook market real quick down there.
Yeah, absolutely. If he impounds his car and I'm coming back with an empty spot on the trailer, it's gonna get filled. I can guarantee you.
Maybe we'll start looking at some of those Vipers we were looking at.
Yeah.
We'll swing by Andy House's dealership. Do you know who that is, right? That's the guy that put his Bugatti in a lake.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, really?
He has a dealership down there. He moves a lot of Ford GTs and Vipers. I mean everything, but
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's somebody I'd love to have on the podcast just for the stories, dude. That guy's it looks like he's a rowdy time.
I took my Bugatti into a lake. That's a story itself. Jeez.
Well, he just did a podcast. I don't know with who, but or an episode or something talking about it. I can't remember. He had to set the record straight on some stuff too. So yeah, but I think he was trying to start a podcast, and then I think his first guest was supposed to be Calvo or something. I don't know, but that's his whole group down there. I'm sure we'll run into him in Texas, but
yeah, it'd be cool to meet those Sissio guys, those crazy fast GTRs too.
Dude, yeah, that's ridiculous. I think we got a fast Sissio around here. I know that Rat does some work with Sissio.
Yeah, I've seen him on his Facebook a couple times. Yeah,
that'd be some. Yeah, because like they just had that really fast R8. I think it just set the record on a 6130 or whatever.
Oh, really?
Something like that. Fastest R8 Huracan platform. I don't know. It's ridiculous. But UGR, because like UGR doesn't do a lot of street stuff. They really don't. They just posted a ridiculous video. I think their 6130 was like in the 1.8. Something that's ridiculous. Moving. I don't know. I might be talking out of my ass there. But I know it was. I'm about to pull it up on my phone here. I posted on my story the other day. It was crazy. But that was the yellow one that won Texas 2K that one year.
Oh, the like yellow 2-3 years ago. Yeah, I remember that one.
Which is a 3,000 horsepower STO. That's a lot of power to put down on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or that GTR that won it last year. I think was it that all black one. That road racing one?
Yeah, the T1 one?
Yeah.
I don't think you'll ever see that car in the street.
That thing's insane, though. My God. Can't imagine. I've seen, like, I think one year he had, like, a GoPro inside the car, and just seeing, like, his perspective of it, oh, my God. That's crazy.
The way those cars shake, yeah. Well,
it's terrifying, yeah.
Well, again, like, I've been in the twin-turbo Viper, right? And it's, like, that car starts getting scary after 130. Like up until then, yeah, it's violent, but as you know, like the higher horsepower cars, they start ramping up the boost the faster they get. Because like, you're not gonna put down all that power at 60. Yeah, it's just never gonna happen.
Yeah. I don't know how those Vipers feel, but like with at least Corvettes, when you start getting up past like the 120s, 130s, something goes on with the front suspension and you start feeling it just slowly starts to sway and skate around. Even though you're not losing traction, it just feels like the front end is just almost like lifting up and like starting to turn by itself. It's the weirdest thing ever, but maybe it's just a Corvette thing, because I've talked to a couple other people and they said they don't really deal with that stuff, and I was like, oh. But then I talked to other Corvette guys and they're like, yeah, it's like, we don't know what's going on with that. It's like, oh, okay,
it's gotta get dialed in maybe or something. I
don't know. It's weird. It's scary.
So I think I've been in that car for 10 or 15 hits, and that's when it was it was making 2,000 or whatever at the wheels at the time, and it's really dialed.
No, I bet.
There's been like maybe one or two brown starfish moments, and that's because it was like that car was hooking. It was 38 degrees the first time I was in that car.
Yeah, that car's fast. Yeah.
So. It's, I don't know if it's the people that work on it or if it's just the fact that it's Motec or what or everything. But when you start getting into those 6-digit builds, they perform like it. So
yeah, that big wing that they have, that is a big benefit for those cars. The amount of downforce that wing creates itself, it is ridiculous. I don't know if you've seen Davion's car recently, but he recently tried to like get a close-ish wing just like the Viper guys do. Okay. And so he just recently he got a custom-made wing for that car. Okay. It's kind of same height and everything. It's as wide as the car. Super sick. But that's kind of the plan for that one, is he wants to put so much downforce on the car.
I wonder who he's talking to. I wonder where he got that idea from.
I don't know. He talks to a lot more people than I do. I mean, that C5, if you guys think like my car is a little, or like some people think my car is crazy, it's like I'll show him their car and I'll talk about his car, and that thing's on a whole different level.
Well, when I started talking to him early in 2023, I think he was telling me like the limiting factor on his car was the injectors. I can't remember. I think it was something fuel related. He's like, yeah, dude, once I upgrade this, I'm good for 600 more horsepower. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I believe that, honestly.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. But yeah, no, the thing is, especially on the street, downforce is huge. You need that extra weight on those. Like, again, it's like, do you put weight in the back? Do you do downforce? It's just, there's hundreds of tricks you can do to make your car go faster.
It's there's a lot of science that goes into it. Especially
and then too much downforce and you're not going a whole lot faster, because then it'll go slower.
Well, it depends on how it's set up and everything. I mean, it's just, I feel like if anybody listens, like by the time I get to episode 100, if somebody listens to all the episodes, I bet you some people will start picking up tricks to make their shit faster.
Oh, I bet probably, honestly.
Yeah, especially as this podcast grows and I get faster and faster guys and some more shop owners. You know, you pick up a trick from this shop, and then all of a sudden some new kids on the block.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe we'll inspire somebody to drop out of college and open a shop.
Yeah, I think so.
If you are currently in college for physical therapy, drop out and start building
Here's
Corvettes.
your sign.
Yeah.
This is your sign.
Come work part-time with me. You know,
Tell
I
your
might know a
parents.
couple things.
Yeah.
Well, one of my childhood friends, actually, he just opened up a shop down in Savage. And again, LS kind of guy, that's his background. And my problem is I'm good at having conversations like this, getting the best out of people, because at the end of the day, you're the one doing all the technical talking.
Yep.
But like, I don't really have a lot of wrenching experience besides, you know, changing my fucking oil, you know. Like, so I asked him, I'm like, man, you're like 5 minutes from my house, can I just swing by and you just teach me things? He's like, absolutely. You know, so I might start getting some more hands-on experience here in the next few months as well, because, you know, I feel like everybody's a visual learner.
Yeah.
Like, you can watch a YouTube video on how to work on a car, but you're not going to really get anything out of it until you actually do it.
Yep. No, I agree.
So that's on my bucket list for 2024, is just to get more hands-on with the things that I'm talking about. So that'll be cool. Maybe I'll end up buying a Corvette and building it myself.
Maybe. Yeah. Or you just send it my way, whichever one.
Dude, that's the tough part is, like, for example, like when I ended up hosting the podcast here at Ratified, it's like other people are like, well, wait, what about me? I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
you know, it's hard to spread the love to everybody.
Yeah. There's so many shops out here. It's ridiculous.
Dude, there's 6 Euro shops within like a few miles from here.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like when photographers get all butthurt when you want to get pictures taken by other photographers. And then they get
Well,
upset,
you know, certain photographers are, you know, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm on your, I'm number 6 on your hotline. Like, I don't know why. I love Derek. He's my boy, but what the fuck?
Yeah,
you
yeah.
cheating little bitch.
Just trying to spread the love.
Which brings
spread
us
the
full
love.
circle to the little bitch conversation. This is another off-camera conversation to happen. Sorry, guys, but no, nonetheless, like it's super exciting to see more shops come to this. It seems you're very passionate about this, so I really hope that you just keep fighting a good fight.
Yeah, definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, and now we're at an hour 30. So Dan, do you want to pop the usual 3?
I do.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Fucking do it.
All right, sweet. All right, at the end of every episode, we like to ask our guests to pick 3 cars. We need a track car, a daily driver, and a show car. You got unlimited budget, anything you can imagine. You can swap, build, do whatever. You can cut one car in half, weld it together. What are you going to pick?
Ooh, that's a tough.
Yeah, it's very tough.
Yeah.
I bet you the daily's the hardest.
Honestly, yeah. Because, like, I don't know, track car that you have so many different possibilities you could do, but it's like, you know, it's only a track car. Oh, gosh. Show car. Let's start there. Show car. Surprisingly, I'd probably do something dumb, like a LS swapped S15. Like a Sylvia S15, but with an LS and like a turbo and such. So I guess a little bit of track car, but it'd be more for show than anything else. Daily, I'm obsessed with those new RS6s. Those are amazing. Those are crazy. I've seen a couple of them in person. They're beautiful cars.
Okay. I'm glad you bring that up, because I'm about to drop my first article, because I've started, you know, wanting to, like, you know how like Motor Trend and all these other, you know, companies, like they have like articles and such.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I want to start doing that for stuff that we get from the podcast, right? Like, you know, kind of like turning the highlights into articles as well. And the first one I want to do is going to be the dailies that our podcast guests have chosen. RS6 is number 1.
Oh, really?
By a lot. Like, I went back through the data because I have a whole sheet of it. Somebody put it together, and then I just kind of like, so his name's Tony Kranz. He put together like 40 of them or whatever, like the first 40 episodes. And then since then I've kind of taken over. And yeah, Audis in general are kind of number 1 picked daily. It's kind of wild.
That's pretty surprising.
They build a lot of dailies with a lot of horsepower.
Yeah. Like that R6, how much is that thing making? It was like
500 or 600 crank.
Really?
I think.
thought it was more than that.
But the thing is, you could tune the shit out of them.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. Because I heard there was a couple like 800, 700.
Yeah, definitely not stock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it might be. Maybe it's like 640 at the crank stock. I might be wrong. I might be off on that.
I don't know. You Euro guys keep saying downpipes in a tune. That's all it takes. Downpipes.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous. But anyways, back to daily RSX Avant.
Yep. And then track car, probably go back to that. Probably C6 Corvette. Just souped up crazy like that one guy's, twin turbo, as much as downforce you could put on it, super light.
Mm-hmm.
That'd definitely be a lot of fun.
That'd be rowdy. Dude, I'd love to get that guy on the pod. Just talk. What the fuck?
Only if he had a passenger seat, he'd bring you with. Oh, that'd be a crazy experience.
Dude,
put a milk crate or something in there. You can sit on that.
It's one thing to ride shotgun in a straight line in a high horsepower car. I could not even imagine on a road course. Because that's the thing. When you're coming out, after the apex, and you start getting on that throttle, just a little too much throttle, you get oversteer or understeer. And it's like, ooh, that it's another element. So at least when you're trying to do time attack wise, I don't know. It's like drag racing, but with turns.
Yeah, a lot harder. I give those time attack guys a lot of big props.
Yeah,
like that takes a whole different skill set than just going in a straight line. Not just that. I mean, especially those big horsepower guys. The amount of G's that you're feeling just around the corner. Oh my god, that's probably insane.
Dude, the thing is like a lot of people within cliques and niches, they talk shit like, oh, road course guys, whatever, that's boring, or drag racing, that's boring, that's just a straight line. All of these specific niches have their own challenges to overcome. That's why there's so much money in drag racing, so much money in whatever. It's none of it's easy.
Yeah.
once you start getting to like the top tier stuff. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, but yeah,
it's all expensive and all hard to get into, honestly.
Yeah.
All of it takes practice. Like even driving in a straight line, it's not easy.
Yep.
Not as easy as you think it is, at least.
Yep.
So, well, on that note, where can everybody find you?
Facebook, Instagram, look up Nightfall Performance. I'll be there, and pretty much emails there on my Facebook, phone number if you ever want to get in contact, and pretty much it.
Sweet. Dan?
You can find us at Gunner Garage. Cars are coming back out, so hopefully we'll get some more content going.
Oh Sweet. My god, same. That's what I've been aching for, is getting the cars out. It's like, oh, what do I have left in the camera roll? What can I use?
And as for me, guys, you guys should know where you're at this point in the episode. Otherwise, for the track date that we have planned for May 20th, we finally dropped the date or the details on that. So $395 plus tax for anybody that wants to get some coaching done from an instructor on how to go on a road course. That's Monday, May 20th. Look out for the flyer on that. I should probably put that out. I'm really slacking on that front. But nonetheless, that's the official date, the official price. Just let them know to use code Monoxide. You could either call it, do the website, whatever. I'm just trying to get more people out to the track day. So got to give it the shout out. The Community Rally, let's see. We're getting a lot of signups for North. South is starting to trickle in. The thing is, that's in August. So, we'll probably start seeing a lot of people register for that.
As somebody says that I know, that's a July problem.
Yeah, no. When it comes to rallies, dude, I like to plan very far in advance. I've been on the stress. I've seen the stressful side of planning at last minute, and that'll never happen again, right, Balto? Shout out to Dan.
Well, if you're waiting to buy your ticket too, you never know, it could fill up.
Oh, no, I am convinced that North we're gonna sell out.
Yeah.
Yeah, South will get really close to it. That depends on some stuff that we have going on in Chicago, some marketing stuff that we have coming up, and I'm doing too much behind the curtain stuff here, but the North signups are pretty awesome.
Nice.
We got some cool cars for South too that I won't disclose yet.
All right.
That's really exciting. So sign up, code Monoxide. You can save some money there too. I don't remember how much. I don't really care. Shout out to our sponsor, Raise a Hood, of course. I don't know. Usually there's like an actual ad in the episode, but today I'm feeling very energized.
No, that's good.
All right. On that note, guys, we'll see you all next time. The next episodes will be from Texas 2K, so see y'all then. Thank you again for coming on, Omar. Dan, thanks for existing, and see y'all next time.